Senator Hill, Representative Eubanks. We also have with us the senator and representative for the trucking company, Dedicated Logistics, who is going to take Johnny to D.C. Senator Ben Gilmore and Representative Howard Beatty are here as well. They represent the Crossett area that Dedicated Logistics is located in. So when we started this process about 5 years ago, it was myself, a guy named Kurt Nauman, who's retired from Secretary of State, and Karen Watley, who is now a judge. I'm the only one left from the original team. Mr. Secretary, I don't know what I did wrong here, but it has been an amazing process to get to this point, to go through this, to celebrate two wonderful Arkansans who are going to represent us to the nearly 4 million visitors who come through each year to the United States Capitol. They're going to hear the Arkansas story of Daisy Bates, and they're going to hear the Arkansas story of Johnny Cash. And our hope is that it will encourage people from all around the world who tour the U.S. Capitol to want to come and visit Arkansas and experience the life of Daisy Bates and the life of Johnny Cash, whether it be in Kingsland, whether it be in Dice, or whether it be in Little Rock right down the street at the Daisy Bates Museum. So we celebrate both of them today, and we celebrate the occasion that in a couple of weeks, Johnny Cash will replace the former Senator James P. Clark, who stood in the U.S. Capitol for 103 years. And so for the first time in over a century, Arkansas will have two new statues to represent it in the United States Capitol. So to begin today, I want to call up the artist of Johnny Cash. Kevin Cressy has spent a lot of his life working on a lot of different projects, but I think he will certainly say this is one that will be very special. It's not every day you get a commission to put a statue in the United States Capitol, and so it's been an honor working with Kevin, and I can't wait for everyone to see Kevin's work when this statue is unveiled on September 24th. So please welcome Kevin Cressy.
Thank you. I think I can honestly say without a doubt that I'm the person who's most grateful for Dedicated Logistics taking this precious cargo to Washington, D.C. Doing what I do, I pull trailers just often enough to make it a dramatic event for me every time. And Johnny was no exception, and he actually amped it up quite a bit. It was important to me that this be as much of an Arkansas product as possible. So I was very fortunate that I found a quarry in Eureka Springs, Eureka Stone, to skin the steel structure for the pedestal. And when I was bringing Johnny back from the Crucible Art Foundry in Norman, Oklahoma, I had a trailer 16 feet long with Johnny in the middle of it with straps around his neck and head with blankets, so it looked like a strange, very conspicuous hostage situation going down I-40, and I can still see the people driving by taking pictures in case they needed it for police reports or something. When he was finished at Eureka Stone, they crated him, and once again the truck and trailer, which I have to say the Stroud family from Foundation Pro generously lent me, foolishly probably, but anyway, to get through the Ozark Mountains on those 15-mile-an-hour little 180-degree cutbacks. It had rained that morning. I had 4,000 pounds behind me. I had a parade of cars cursing my name, I'm sure, as well. I'm still recovering psychologically from that trip. I mean, I'm 31 years old. Look at me. I'm a wreck. If I had to keep going all the way to D.C., I'd be looking like Keith Richards' father by the time it's all done. I want to thank Marty Ryle and the Department of Heritage and Greg Roberts there for housing Johnny while he was here. And so everyone at Dedicated Logistics, Alan Ryle and Jimmy and Adam and Chip. If I had a bottle of champagne to break over it, I would, but instead I'll just toast you guys tonight. Godspeed, safe travels. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, when Kevin came back from Eureka Springs, we pulled up, thanks to Marty Ryle, to store him at Arkansas Heritage, and we forgot we didn't get a forklift. And so, to add to the excitement, Johnny got to spend the night outdoors, covered, just in case it rained. So yeah, there's been a book we could all write, all of us who have been involved in this process. So, but we're glad we're finally to this point to send him to D.C. Next, for the last 5 years, it's been my privilege to work with Secretary of State John Thurston and his team, providing great leadership, they've just been over backwards with anything that our committee has needed to do and to try to put this all together and to try to pull this off. And so I want to thank the Secretary, but I also want to recognize his staff, Michael Harry, Kenneth Burleson, and Jamie Land. We've spent a lot of time together, probably more than we have with our families for the last, at least for the last year. And I'm grateful to them and all of their work, keeping me sane through the Bates unveiling. And you only got 2 more weeks of me, guys. I think we might be able to survive. So please welcome Secretary John Thurston.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And I don't know who else to even recognize. I think Shane pretty well recognized everyone. But it's great to be a part of this process. As he mentioned, there are several people that have actually retired since we began this project. And it was in 2019 the legislature's first passed this, and then we began the process to replace the 2 statues that are in Statutory Hall. And then 5 years later, we unveiled the new Daisy Bates, which was the first one. And I'm going to say to the public, I think a trip to D.C., it is worth you going just to see these 2 monuments. Daisy Bates, being an icon here in this state, civil rights activist, just an outstanding leader in our state during her time on earth. And to see her standing there and looking across with confidence and thinking of all the things that she went through, it's just a powerful, powerful monument to see. And also now we're going to have Johnny Cash. And I want to thank Kevin first, because haven't actually seen it completed. I've seen, what do you call it, the clay, what's it called?
Clay model.
It's going to look really, really good. And we're not only remembering Johnny Cash for his life of perseverance, redemption, he's just an American icon, but also, Kevin, you're going to be remembered for generations to come, and there's going to be a part of you. That's the part I think is so powerful, that there's going to be a part of you in the U.S. Capitol for many generations, and that's really powerful, I think. And so, lastly, I just want to thank Shane Broadway, his leadership, Statutory Hall Commission, legislatures, the Capitol Arts and Grounds, the Cash family. The Cash family has been heavily involved in this process, and many others to help us get us to this historical day. And, I said that was last. No, this is last. Dedicated Logistics, Alan Riles. Thank you so much. I don't think he's charging a dime for this, and he's volunteering his service, his equipment, and we really do appreciate that. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. The Secretary mentioned that the Cash family has been heavily involved in this, and I want to recognize a couple of members of the Cash family who are with us here today. Wayne and Rita Cash, Johnny's cousins from Kingsland. They are here today. There will be a lot of Cash family members in Washington, D.C. On September 23rd and 24th. I also have with us today Dr. Adam Long and Penny Toombs with the Arkansas State University Heritage Sites, which we own the Johnny Cash Boyhood Home in Dice. Roseanne Cash was in town a couple of weeks ago to help raise money for that, and so we're excited about celebrating Kingsland, celebrating Dice, and celebrating with the Cash family. So when we got to the point where the statue was done, and we had all the approvals from the architect of the Capitol, from the Joint Committee on the Library, which consists of members of Congress, we had to then figure out how to get Johnny to D.C. And so that's where Kevin and I began talking, and I called Shannon Newton with the Arkansas Trucking Association. She is here today, and said, is there an Arkansas company who might take Johnny to D.C. for us? And so that's why we're here today, is to thank Dedicated Logistics from Crossett, Arkansas, as I mentioned, in Senator Gilmore and Representative Beatty's district down in South Arkansas. It's South Arkansas taking a South Arkansas guy, and so that really so many similarities come into play when we've had this discussion. But Alan Riles and his team have been phenomenal to work with. We've got a long text chain of me and Kevin and Alan and Adam Busman, who is here. I'm going to call Adam up here in a minute. Our driver today, who is taking Johnny to D.C., is Shemp. There's Shemp over there. Shemp Hardney. And so we're grateful to them. We've got the rigging company in Maryland on the text chain, and then the architect of the Capitol. So logistically, for the media, let me walk you through what's going to happen today. Shemp, when we're done, is going to take off to D.C. He is going to end up in Rockville, Maryland on Monday morning, where Johnny's statue will be unloaded in Maryland, right outside the boundary of D.C. With United Rigging. And then on Friday, September the 20th, once the Capitol closes and there's nobody inside, except for a few of us, then the rigging company will bring Johnny's statue to the Capitol, where he will be loaded in and put into place in Emancipation Hall that afternoon. We reminded Kevin to bring all the tools. For Daisy, we had to go to a hardware store after 5 o'clock on Pennsylvania Avenue in D.C., which is not easy to find. So we've already told Kevin to bring everything with us before we enter the Capitol. So Johnny will be placed in the Capitol that Friday evening, and a box will be placed around him. And then Monday morning, the architect of the Capitol will place a drape over the statue with the ropes. And then at 11 a.m. that morning, the ceremony will commence in the Emancipation Hall under the leadership of Speaker Johnson and Leader Jeffries, who will both be there for the ceremony. And so the statue will not be unveiled until that ceremony at 11 o'clock on September the 24th. But we are very grateful to Dedicated Logistics, an Arkansas company taking an Arkansan to Washington, D.C. Both Adam and Shemp are veterans of the United States Army. So we have a veteran hauling a veteran, Johnny Cash, a veteran of the United States Air Force. So a veteran hauling a veteran to D.C. And so, Adam, would you come up and say a few words on behalf of Dedicated Logistics?
Thank you for having us. Just on behalf of Dedicated Logistics, we want to say thank you for letting us be a small part of this momentous occasion. And we really look forward to seeing this great piece of art in our nation's capital. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adam, and thank you all for coming out today. If you want to see a crated Johnny Cash, please come around to the back of the truck. That was interesting, loading him in this morning at 8 o'clock. We had fun doing that, too, to make sure you got about an inch or two to spare. Not really. We're going to make it up as we go along with this. So, but it's an exciting time. It's been an exciting process to be a part of that nobody else in Arkansas history has ever been a part of. When we started this process, there wasn't a book to go by. We will have, once all the ceremonies are over, I do want to thank Governor Hutchison and Governor Sanders both for their leadership and helping us to raise the funds necessary to do this project in a timely fashion. There will be a documentary about the whole process by Arkansas PBS. Nathan Willis is our producer of that. They're here with their camera today as well, and so we will have a documentary that will focus on the life of Daisy and Johnny, as well as the process with Benjamin Victor and Kevin Cressy, our artists, when all this is done. So we're excited about that. Excited for you to see all of that footage that's been taken over the last 5 years. So with that, we'll be glad to take any questions. If not, thank you all for coming. And for those of you who are going to be in DC for the ceremony, we'll see you then. And for those of you who won't be, there will be a link for you to watch it. We will post that link the Friday before the ceremony, so you will be able to watch the ceremony live.